Hi, welcome to the spoiler section. We're just going to break down Star Trek Beyond.
We'll tell you everything.
Okay. All right, so finally you get us unleashed. You get us not trying to, like, talk around stuff.
We're going beyond
we're going,
the beyond. It is so many beyonds, you won't know how
It's
beyond you
It's
are.
like the
So-
Beyonder beyond. Yeah, comic book
So
reference.
plot-wise,
Too many beyonds.
I haven't watched a lot of trailers for this, so I'm not sure what people know from the trailers. I love the concept of the villain in this one. The thousands of little ships versus the big ship. Like, it's such a nice, and I know it's a little ham-handed, but it ties in nicely with the theming of the movie of, like, the strength of the one versus the strength of the.
It does.
You know, and
yeah.
and that's been in play ever since, you know, the
Like,
needs of the many.
I
Right,
didn't
exactly.
like the way the film executed things, but I did like thematically the bones of it
Sure,
and the
yeah,
story behind it. I really. That's a pun. That's a pun. Oh God. No.
I was waiting. Is he gonna do it?
Yeah,
Is he-
no, but like the skeleton of the film, like what they had set up for the character arcs and the plot and the underlying things behind the villain, I thought that was some great stuff.
I actually
sure.
thought there wasn't enough of the villain stuff. Like, they said,
Yeah.
I was watching some videos on this, and they said that the Hive originally has, like, a bigger part, and they explain the Hive more. And
I did feel that was underexplored.
Yeah, I would have loved that. I would have loved a little more. I would have loved a little more about his backstory, other than, like, he crashes and he's like, "Oh, I was stranded here for a long time. I became a weird energy vampire." He's an energy vampire.
I mean, I love how
That's true.
he
Yeah,
provides
that's true.
a
I guess that would be
dualism.
the best way to describe energy vampire.
He
Yeah.
provided.
Like,
oh, sorry.
what was that one movie? You know what? I don't even know the name. I shouldn't make the reference. I should just continue on. Because this is just babbling. Continue.
Can I go off this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna take it all. It's mine.
All right,
No, So yeah, with his character, with Idris's character,
Sure.
with Crawl / Edison,
yeah.
he
Major
he
spoilers.
provides.
Spoiler bomb.
That's why it's the spoiler
Boom.
section.
I mean, I did not see him being human at the start. I didn't
Oh, no.
see that coming.
Oh, no way.
And I loved that.
I
That
did
was
too.
a highlight of the film for me.
Well, and I like how his performance goes from being more animalistic and heavier, and, like, when he's speaking,
person
when he's in the full biggest prosthetic thing, his words are much more labored and much more like he's trying to remember how to form these words.
Yeah.
And then throughout the film, after he eats a bunch of people and becomes more and more human, the words flow better and better. But they never get, like, full human because the character never gets to that point.
Yeah.
I
And
like
and
that a lot.
I think
But-
that's the first point of foreshadowing who he is as Edison is that scene when he's draining those two Starfleet personnel, and then he's like, "Wait a second,
He's a little smoother than he
he's
was."
changing."
Yeah, I love
with,
that.
with Kirk, like he provides a dual as like another mirror for Kirk in a way, because he is a captain. Because it establishes Kirk as being tired of being a captain.
Right.
The voyage
Right.
taking a toll on
Getting
him.
lost in that whole thing.
Him being his dad's age when his dad died at the start,
Right.
and like
It's that Dark Knight thing, you know.
yeah,
You know,
no, it's
you
like
either die a hero or live long
so
enough to
he's
see
he's
it.
worried.
Yeah.
There's some like it established in the film he doesn't have a family or a relationship, and there's that that thing set up for him, and it's, you know, when we get to the part of Edison and like we understand where Edison came from, like
Right.
how he was abandoned, or he felt he was abandoned by Starfleet.
Right. Even though they had no idea.
No idea he was
Yeah.
out there. It's like
No. This
the
leads.
idea of like being a captain, having a crew, having this responsibility, like it's and what he's doing it for, his purpose, that becomes apparent to Kirk, and like
Sure.
by the end. I
Yeah.
feel like that was really well set up, and it really
This leads to the only big plot hole for me. There's just one huge plot hole in the movie for me. Okay, so he's the captain of the ship that's
the
hidden in the
USS
mountain.
Franklin. Yeah.
Right.
How does he not know it's there? That's the only
yeah.
thing. It's such
Okay.
like a small thing.
All
it
right,
won't
all
get
right.
in the way of enjoying the
Okay,
movie
no,
at all, but it's like,
I got that while I was watching
Yeah.
the movie, and this is the way I like to look at this. Okay, at a certain point, his character is cutting off ties.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
that is not him anymore.
Yeah,
So
well-
sure, it's crashed up in the mountains. He doesn't care about
this
that stuff
indigenous
anymore.
alien technology is what he's turned to.
Exactly.
Well, and if
And
you go
that-
with the idea that the energy vampire changes him mentally as well as physically, like we don't know what memories he still has or anything, so
Right.
you can no prize your way out of it, like for sure. It's just like yeah.
It's not fully addressed
The
properly.
movie wants you to bring that, it like needs you to bring it to it because the movie in no way explains.
No.
Right.
So-
It's a leap of faith.
It's a leap of faith.
And,
yeah.
You have to
and
put
I
the
took
pieces
it.
together.
No, so did I.
yeah.
I still really enjoyed the movie. It just made me laugh, and I'm like, wait, he's from where?
What wasn't established well enough for me is, are his minions, are these people operating the drones,
Also.
are they the former crew?
Yeah,
Well,
that was confusing too.
The drones are drones. They're,
Right.
the-
They're not. They're but they're
they're-
manned.
But they're not. Those are drones.
There were individuals operating the
Yeah,
drones.
because remember.
Yeah, but those are the drones.
Oh, the
the
drones are
things-
the people.
The people. Those are the drones. That's
were
the
those-
workforce because it's a mining.
And were
operation.
those
right.
were those
See,
the
this is
former
where the Hive
USS?
backstory would have been.
That would have
real
been great,
nice,
yeah, it's true.
That's the former crew of the USS Franklin.
We don't know that.
Because
I'm
on the
assuming-
Enterprise,
I'm assuming.
I think
most
we're
of
going
it-
too far into
Well,
this.
no, we don't
but-
know who's eaten who or
They
how
did eat
that
somebody
happened.
on the Enterprise itself
Yeah.
at the start.
Yeah.
Two of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just mean like of the original crew of the Franklin. We don't know what's happened to them, how they've evolved.
And I guess it doesn't matter
what's going
too
on.
much.
It doesn't.
So let's-
It doesn't.
The
affect
only
the
assumption
film.
is
Yeah.
I think his right hand guy is
his first officer.
Fisher.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I jump into
Yeah.
like back out a bit? The thing that really bugs me about the way Elba's character is that reveal is made is that it
Oh, that scene is bad. It's a goofy.
it's the pacing. The
It's-
pacing of it is like crawl. Like his.
Are you talking about when she's looking at the video?
No, I'm talking about from the start when he comes into play, and we see him. Just
Are you talking about the step by step to reveal the foreshadowing?
yeah, it's just like I mean the reason why he's so relevant to Kirk, I feel like that comes up far too late in the movie.
I can agree with that. I think
That was
I
my
think
biggest problem.
there isn't a lot that shows that leads up to that reveal. I mean, there's a certain point where they're totally there, but
Yeah.
Like it,
but I think they could have extended it out and then shown more of the Krull as a captain part.
Yeah.
And then
That's
you
what I wanted.
juxtapose that to what Kirk is feeling.
and have more of that.
Yeah, because they
it's-
don't need to be in the same room to have that
It's
happen.
No, I
you
mean,
know,
yeah. I mean,
you know,
that's the
when
con
they're
dynamic,
when
right?
they start to defend Yorktown, and like when they're outside Yorktown, we don't know anything about Krull
Oh.
like that. It's only once he's like crash landed and his fleet's like gone that we know that about Krull, and that's I don't like that because
No, we
I
find
feel like
out before
we'd
they
have-
attack Yorktown
It's-
because we have the scene where
no, the footage.
Uhura is going through the footage and
The
it's
footage is in
so
Yorktown.
annoying. No, the footage is on
Is it
on
not?
the Franklin.
On the Franklin, yeah.
yeah,
It's-
the
it's-
footage is on the Franklin and she's going
But like
through
in
it.
Yorktown, the Franklin is in Yorktown.
No.
No.
no, water.
It's
No,
before they
before
even
then.
take off.
Yeah. It's back on
Okay.
the planet. So
Yeah,
it
you're
is
right.
revealed before they
Yeah,
go
but
into
it's
that.
not really explored with him so much up until the end.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
in the
it's
interaction.
kind of like, I feel like
Like this-
it is a
'cause-
little bit rushed. But when I try and think of what to cut to include it, or if the movie should be another 20 minutes longer,
I feel like-
I'm glad that they erred on the side of not making it longer.
See,
I
I
feel like
don't
some
know
things
about
were
that.
rushed, though.
I personally like long movies.
I like long movies
I can
too.
sit
Because
through
you
it.
need the time. Because
You need time to savor things and to let
Well, you
like,
need
feel
time
things.
to really world build.
Oh,
Yeah,
and you
and-
can
and-
only do that with a sci-fi movie, especially.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you need that to build like that emotional believability.
So
you
I
can,
think
you
I
have
think
time
if
to
you kept
process
in
it
the high
emotionally.
backstory with a little more of Krull the captain,
Yeah.
then that's an extra 30 minutes and you're fine.
I mean, I think. Oh no, I take it back. I do know where I would cut. I've been thinking about this in the
Okay.
last minute. You've
Okay,
been
I'm
talking.
probably going to be like totally in disagreement.
I know, and this is just like a thing. At the end, there's that very cool fight scene where they're like floating around the gravity and they're fighting and stuff. All very neat. but you could just easily solve that entire situation by going, he's in the tower, teleport him out. Boop, 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 boop. He's in space. The thing is in space now too, because we have teleporters.
What are you talking about? This is Star Trek. All you gotta say is, well, the gravitational field is preventing.
Which they didn't even. Which I thought they were going to, because they got the 3 cities. Like there's gravity's clearly messed up there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, the gravity
It's
slipstream.
probably because they already set it for for the mining operation.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we gotta take in repeaters or whatever, pattern buffers or pattern enhancers or whatever. But yeah, okay.
I mean,
all right, I'll give you that.
My thing is that,
but I did like it.
Oh yeah, I love that fight scene. I was like, this is so creative. And I'm like, why don't they teleport? I'm like, Brain, leave me alone, man. Like, I'm trying to have fun over here.
No, I feel like the problem for me was like we didn't have time to really savor that. It rushes in these moments of realization. The whole film kind of does that for me.
It's breakneck pace. I mean, definitely.
And that ruins it, because you have breakneck pace, then you have this emotional, sentimental moment that comes right after, and it doesn't feel like I've earned it. I don't feel like the characters deserve it yet.
Maybe it's fan goggles here, but like I was so on board with every like emotional beat
I think
of this
that
movie.
I can see how that might affect it.
Like every time.
Well, I agree. I like every emotional beat, but I do agree that I would like to see a little more.
It doesn't give me time to savor it. I don't get time to really process it and to feel it. It's just telling me I should feel this. It doesn't make me feel it.
And the main time I guess the only time I really noticed something like that were the Spock is sad scenes. And that's mainly because in the 2 movies leading up to this, Spock has been like a raging psychopath. Which is very strange.
Ponfar all the time.
Ponfar all the time. This is Mirror World. This was his day where he's not ponfaring. But like seeing Spock not mad, and seeing seeing Spock actually think about things and how he should like proceed, I was just so grateful for that I guess I didn't even consider the fact that these are just out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say for the triumvirate or the triangle or whatnot. I think I think the either the writers or the filmmakers definitely leaned on fan experience to let them make those leaps of faith. I mean, and which is perfectly fine for me, because I love it.
3rd movie of a franchise, I feel like it's a little more justified than like if this were a clean reboot.
Yeah,
okay,
and
gotcha.
That probably factors into my feeling of it, because I haven't seen Into Darkness. I saw the first reboot like ages ago.
Yeah.
So that's.
What did you think of at the end when new Spock opens up the picture of the original crew all dressed up? Same here. Oh my god.
Seriously, I was just like, hold it in, man.
Hold it in, man. Hold it in.
Oh man.
Did that?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I could appreciate that. Like that was. I felt like that was a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what really got me was at the very end of the credits.
Oh my god. Yeah, and then especially
with
the different tones of the 2 things, the In Loving Memory of Leonard Nimoy, and then just for Anton.
Oh man, I lost it. I was just like, all right, there's not much we can do about that. Let's move on. Yeah, no, it's.
So let's make a breakneck 180 and talk about the goofiest thing in the movie. Riding a wave of destruction to the Beastie Boys.
The best part of the movie.
I didn't say it's not good. I said it's the goofiest. And it's by far the goofiest thing that's ever happened in Star Trek.
That's true. That's true. But it was damn cool.
And they put in the work to do it. They did.
They actually built that. Like, there were a lot of things I felt like weren't built up or weren't deserved or didn't happen.
We have to earn.
They don't. They didn't earn a lot of things. I felt like that they did. That this was not one of them. They went into like, these drones must be communicating. High frequencies will block them out.
Oh, they techno-babbled
very
high.
They totally Star Trek did it.
Like,
It was great.
We need very high frequencies. Wait, VHF. let's put a song on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Beastie
like
Boys.
good choice. It's sabotage.
And it
yeah.
feels...
Which
it
references
feels-
the first film when Kirk
Yeah.
crashes the car.
And it
Yeah.
makes the first trailer that everybody hated so it makes it
And
justifiable.
then
somehow.
Makes it better, but not.
And then when they
In
cut
retrospect.
they cut to J.J. Abrams' best friend, and he says, "Yeah, we got the frequency."
What is that? I mean, I was actually.
It's so sick.
It's
I was
one of my
so
favorite.
It's a
fine
great
with
It's one of
that.
my favorite Beastie Boys songs.
I
no,
couldn't
no.
help but
I
smile.
loved
Yeah.
all of the setup, and then when it's being paid off, just like I'm just laughing so hard because it's not just that they use the Beastie Boys to crash all of the ships. No, it's that the ships are coming at them in a literal wave. It looks exactly like a wave, and then the Enterprise is surfing along it as
Yeah.
it turns into a.
Sure.
Oh my god.
They've already.
I
built,
mean,
they've already built in the
I didn't
the
like
whole
a lot of-
surfing wave
Yeah,
aspect
it was-
in the reboots, man. When they go to warp,
I know.
they're like slipstreaming through a wave.
Totally. It
Yeah.
was just
You know?
the funniest payoff. I felt like it was like an hour-long joke for like just to pay off of like, woo! And I loved it. I was
Yeah.
having fun.
No,
I was
mean,
laughing.
it wasn't.
Like,
They actually made me buy that they would do this.
yeah.
That's crazy to
That's
say
some
that.
great
On
like-
paper, I wouldn't ever think that.
You wouldn't go Star Trek,
But
the
it
right
worked.
wave of destruction. Yeah.
It
Oh
worked. I dug it.
Well, that's how I felt about like most of the action scenes in the movie. Like the moment like somebody was like, "Hey, there's a motorcycle in this movie," I was like, "Oh God, why is there a motor? Why would you need a motorcycle?
Yeah.
You would never." And then
You know what? It's the whole reason why there was a crashed ancient by Starfleet standards
Yeah.
on this planet because they had an even older classic vehicle on
oh
there.
my God.
Yeah, no, it's
But
great.
like
oh,
the way they used it, where Kirk was doing the distraction using the amber thing that was set up earlier,
That thing?
magic and wishes, I think.
well,
Okay.
it already
It's
came with a
probably-
full tank of gas.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Ancient
And it just
gas.
it didn't rise out.
What? It's gasoline. It doesn't go bad.
It's a new.
It doesn't
it's
turn
a-
back into dinosaurs.
It's
it went full circle. Rawr, you know?
oh god. No, it's a fossil fuel.
yeah, they found some more fossils.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, I want to get back to what I didn't like about Carl Urban and that first act.
Okay, 1 second.
All right, before.
But his line,
Which one?
Carl Urban's Bones line to Spock. What is that? Classical music?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
They beat that joke to death
I
too.
know,
They,
I
somebody-
know.
Right.
It was like every time a song was like, "Is that classical? Is that classical? Is that classical?" I'm like, yes. Oh my God, I get it.
Now,
Yeah, all right, now we're transitioning
Seriously,
into first act Carl Urban talking about that. We're gonna
Okay.
fight.
So,
we are. I didn't think I'd actually be teaming up with TJ in this fight.
oh, I'm dead.
No, yeah.
First act, it starts off with Kirk's monologue, where Kirk basically tells you all there is to the setup. I'm not seeing it. I'm just being told it. That irks me.
I was fine with that because it was like, hey, this movie's not gonna be like the last movie, and I needed that as a fan.
Okay.
I needed that, like, hey, remember Star Trek? We're gonna try and make a Star Trek movie. I was like, all right,
Okay.
yeah. We're in the mission for like more than like a minute. We're outside of our solar system.
Yeah.
Like Earth is never under. Like I appreciated that monologue because when you think about trying to show that, it would have taken so much more time, and it wouldn't have been like interesting. It would have just been like, I don't even know. Like, how do you set up 2 years worth of adventures and stuff, and just be like,
Yeah.
it's been a while. Like, I like that they,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess the monotony of it.
yeah.
Like,
And I
I-
thought the voiceover reflects that pretty
Yeah.
well. Like the how mundane things have gotten and how
Yeah.
it set up the visuals really well.
When Kirk and Bones are drinking the scotch and stuff, and
Extra sensitive.
Kirk, yeah, like that doesn't really cover it. Like I feel like when Kirk says, "Oh, you're Mr. Sensitive," because Bones points out the obvious about like Kirk thinking about his dad and like
On his birthday.
and like the
stuff.
themes of it, because like that's supposed to cover how on the nose Bones is about it, but it doesn't for me, because Bones basically says like the thesis statement of the film. He's like, "This
Which
is
you
your
can
problem."
What do you consider the thesis statement there?
Like, Kirk,
I mean, it's clearly said, so you should be able to repeat it back to me. Oh, that's so mean. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
no, but No,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, what do you consider this film's thesis?
something Kirk feels old, something doesn't want to be captain, something.
Okay,
I can't remember it word for word.
and
No, but it's like it's the way Bones delivers it. I think that's the worst. That's why I liked him in the second, third act. He wasn't like that in the first act. He was like, yeah, these are the themes of the movie, and I'm gonna pretend it's like a part of a conversation in second person to you, Kirk, but it's really not.
Now, this is where like the fandom thing comes in again, because that's a direct reference to Wrath of Khan, where they're drinking Romulan ale and talking about how old and sad they are. And I appreciated this cast being, what, 7 years older than they were in the first one. It helps so much.
Actually drinking something before Scotch?
Yeah, they're drinking
Something wine.
I have no idea. I think
like
they're just
foreign
drinking a
wine.
different Scotch, but
No,
it doesn't matter.
it's wine.
It doesn't matter.
It
It doesn't
doesn't. No,
matter. But like that whole scene was like a callback to Khan and the themes of Khan in a way that Into Darkness missed entirely. And I think that scene was a lot of them proving how they understood those themes better, or how not better, but that those were sort of what they were going for. And
Yeah.
And even later on in the movie, they made calls to maybe not one of the better Star Trek movies, but so in Star Trek V they have a little campfire scene, and they tell us like, oh, I know I won't die alone, and all these kind of things, and then Bones just comes out with that line. It's like, well, at least I won't be dying alone, and then disappears. It's like, wasn't that typical? And I was just like, yep, Bones McCoy.
I'm just nodding right now, pretending I understand these references.
I love
I clearly don't.
everything about the Bones Spock sideline. Like that was a perfect way to defang Spock, because after the last two movies he needs to be like pulled back from like this ragey edge, and he's been such a physical presence in the movies that his intellect hasn't been able to play into it like at all.
Right.
So it was really, I think it was really smart on their part to injure him early on. That way,
Make him vulnerable.
Yeah, it takes his physical presence out of it without just ignoring what's been established in this universe, which they easily could have done. And it's smart of them not to, because I know, like, I have a problem with Into Darkness, but I know a lot of people like Into Darkness. I have friends, we can't even talk about it. Like, it just comes up and we just avoid the subject. Like,
right.
So it was a nice middle ground struck there by crippling Spock and then bringing Bones in as his support, and also because he's a doctor, that makes sense. But it was also a chance to really introduce Bones properly as a major character in this franchise in a way that they haven't done yet. And so that whole storyline was just so smart in the way it was conceived that I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, we haven't gotten in the movie so far the friendship of Bones and Spock.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a huge thing. It's not a triangle because it's just two dudes with, their friend. They're all friends, and this is how, this explains how they're actually friends. Because normally that's just, water and oil. It's not.
I remember thinking Into Darkness, like, at the end, like, why does Spock care? Every time Spock and Kirk are on screen in this franchise, they're just and this movie, everyone got to be friends and work together, and I honestly think Marvel could take a page out of this. Like, every time the Avengers show up together, they're always if we could have one solid movie of them not just fighting amongst themselves.
Just like solid bromance.
Yeah, some solid bromance moments, some, great team building. I think I would like to see more movies with that. Personally, I just think it was so refreshing to see a team work as a team, and there wasn't like just, we have to fight about other stuff while we're fighting things. It was like, actually, no, the threat is large enough.
Right.
Trying to think of like getting back to the first act. I feel like, if that's all right.
Yeah, no.
So with the first act, you have like this little setup, and then personally, I think the Sulu thing was a bit cringy.
I was totally fine with that.
I think for me, I mean, I don't have the any context or reference, but for me it just flowed.
Yeah,
it wasn't that he was. It's that I feel like they did put emphasis on it, but they tried to play it off like they weren't.
See, I feel
they did
like
this one like zoom in with the hand on his back, and it's like we're gonna boom.
I
we
feel that
went
but
there,
that's
and
the
it's like
whole-
it's.
But that was the whole family.
Also,
Yeah.
there's two things that I'd like to say about this. First is that if it's like that whole thing is to emphasize how alone Kirk is because he's getting older, and that's like he's married to his
after
career.
you brought that up, I think that's like
And
that's
yeah,
more fair.
if it were what do they call it? A gender normative relationship. It would have been shot the same way. And I feel like
that I don't know about.
that, or there would have been a kiss, which I think they
I would
avoided because by the way they were already shooting it was like I think they were really afraid of overstepping into that. Like if they did it without it, I can imagine like. I don't know. What do you and you guys have heard like George Takei and Simon Pegg have been on the internet sort of like respectfully disagreeing, which I loved. They were just George Takei was just like, yeah, I don't think that's what Roddenberry would have meant. And then Simon Pegg was like, I don't think he could have done it. I think he would have. He put every other person he had variety in the show. And you just couldn't get away with that when the show was released. And I was like, oh my god, two people just had a reasonable discussion on the internet. Proud of them.
I mean, on one hand, it felt cringy because I feel like it was a bit. I don't know, like it was on the nose and it was more.
It's out of the way so fast though.
Yeah.
And it's really only that one
I
shot
know,
and one movement that solidifies that's what that relationship is.
That it's not like his brother. With
Yeah,
his
or
maybe
niece or
it could have
something.
been like the context of the internet.
Oh yeah,
getting
I think
I don't know.
I think I was expecting like it to be more explicit
Obviously,
somehow.
I'm all for that.
Sure, yeah.
It's just
But like,
Well, it's one of the reasons why I'll try and remove myself from exploring all of those internet information because I just don't want too much information coming in skewing the view. So I'm usually pretty good about that because I had no idea that they were doing that.
Okay.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh,
makes sense.
And then
makes
sense.
Like,
Let's move it
I
on.
guess it makes sense as a nod to George, but it's I don't know.
well, the fact that George Takei was like, no, don't do that, and they were just like, we're doing it. It's a little uncomfortable, but at the same time, it all makes sense, and it's not harped on.
It does work, I guess.
And I was glad that the filmmakers were like, yeah, it's like the future, and no, he hasn't said anything about it because it's the
doesn't
future,
matter.
and
Yeah,
no one.
no one cares. It
It's
doesn't matter.
good.
It's a thing.
I think that nobody really brings it up. Nobody has to bring it up.
Yeah, and I
appreciate that.
I was glad that it wasn't like, look, we're including people. It was just like,
Yeah.
Kirk said because he's alone. It was the fact that the scene had other motives to it. I think that's what makes it work in a way that a lot of people haven't made it work.
I'm trying to be like hardline negative here. You two keep on like undermining that attempt.
Welcome to the moderate.
All right.
I'm extreme. I love the movie. No,
Is there any other aspects of the?
Any other major points to bring up?
Visual effects, the visual spectacles.
Okay,
'Cause we did
so
talk
you
about
so
that.
you did say that you were a little disappointed.
I felt like some visuals, just some designs in the art department felt uninspired to me compared to the first Star Trek.
Okay, so
reboot.
so specifically, do you have an example? Because I liked it all.
Jayla's design, I don't know.
Hard disagree.
Yeah, I mean,
I
she's
did
totally
like the
totally
more
space
outdated
out,
look of the USS Franklin. I did appreciate
Reminds
that
me of, like,
it's beige. It's like these beige 70s computers.
I mean,
and
have you guys not seen Enterprise?
Yeah.
No,
Dude,
but it's like
if you took the design of that ship though, and you dropped a crew on that ship in the middle of like Wrath of Khan or something, it would totally fit. Like they took the aesthetics from that.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
That is very
really
true.
made that. And I appreciated that a lot. I thought it was great that they embraced that aesthetic.
that was a good thing for me. But there were some things like when the doors were blowing up on the Enterprise, when the drones and whatnot were blowing things up. Like some of the way like it obviously wasn't practical. It just,
like the explosions? Or?
yeah, it's just like how they melt. Like some things really felt like a step down
When the
visually.
ship flips.
And it's art, not like.
Well, originally, Roddenberry had the ships traveling like this.
No.
all the
I mean
time.
when after they crash lands and the disc, they like fire the.
Oh yeah,
boosters off
when
the
they go
disc
back
and
in
it flips
and
over.
It flips.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene, at the end of that scene was edited so confusingly. I have no idea
Yeah.
how Chekhov and Kirk got out of
No,
there.
absolutely, absolutely. The thing for
Yeah.
me is
That's where all the Hive backstory was in that 2 seconds.
yeah. Gosh. No, the whole. It's just like certain elements I feel were a few years behind. They weren't top of the line.
I mean, I
And
will
they
say
weren't the
the
best
prosthetics
executed.
in this movie were insane.
The prosthetics were great.
I mean, I thought actually Jayla's design was
And-
well pulled off
and
with.
Jayla's cloaking, the hologram thing, and the vapor into rubber rock thing.
the
You know that
crystallization
thing. Yeah,
vapor?
that
Yeah.
that looked great.
Okay.
But there were just some things that I felt weren't the best, and it's really hard to get into it because I'd have to
Sure.
like show you frames and show
Sure,
like
yeah.
this I did not like. It was not good.
Okay.
You can
So
see
I-
my
if you
beard,
have, like,
the
an
light
obsessive-
refracts.
The only
Obsessive.
thing I think I can agree along that point
Yeah.
is there is the one shot where the traitorous alien girl, female, gets
Oh,
killed
yeah.
by
Yeah.
the saucer.
Yeah.
When they do a wide, that tiny little image, okay, maybe that was a little off, but you know, it was I
didn't.
don't know.
I just
Everything
it's
else
not-
I thought was great.
It's not much of a complaint so much as it's like it wasn't top of the line, and I feel like some of
I
those
was-
sequences in general went too.
You know what I really did appreciate, and I feel like a lot of movies. Again, this is like a thing that I hope to see in other movies. I feel like we've gotten to a point in movie making where we value getting things done in a very quickly, and then moving on, very quickly moving on.
Yeah.
But when they established the space station in this movie,
Oh yeah.
they do like, I mean, almost
Sweeps and
almost the original movie. Like you know, in the original Star Trek, how they take that 10-minute pan around the ship. It's not that
I
bad,
feel
but
like-
like the fact that they took the time, a good couple minutes, to go and be like, look at how amazing the future is. Look at this incredible achievement, and then like you get attached to
like
it.
that.
I love
do.
the ships like traveling
Underneath?
under the water.
So cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
No, I liked those aspects of it. I liked the Yorktown, the spaceport,
So
space
cool.
station. But I feel like some things, particularly the alien planet and like the ancient alien cave
Oh, where Spock and Bones end up.
and
But that must be where all of the B stuff is hidden. All of the worker stuff is hidden because they go into that
Yeah.
cave and they're like, hey, this thing's on the wall.
yeah,
And then
it's
they
like-
leave.
Yeah, no,
No, yeah, I feel like
yeah,
it's
I
particularly
would
that
love to
stuff.
have seen more of that backstory.
It's the drones aesthetic and the drones designs that I feel were the most underdeveloped. Also, I feel like
Oh, they look
I-
like the ships from Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit. The Nova Corps ships?
Really?
Yeah, if you like painted them black.
I didn't
They have
feel-
that cone design and then they have like poppy backs. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Sorry.
I don't like. I feel like visually it wasn't up to par with the first, and I can't say Into Dark necessarily make a comparison there. But
Yeah.
it wasn't terrible.
So I went home and watched.
You're really undermining the negativity.
I went home and watched the original reboot when I got home, and that movie is the insides of the ship are ugly because they shot them all in like a brewery, and like there's a bunch of exposed pipes and stuff, and it's just
I
it's
like the
ugly.
look of that. Like it looked industrial,
it doesn't
and it looked
make
more.
sense.
It looked more like lived-in sci-fi, like
No,
what Star Trek was.
I disagree. It'd be like if somebody built a house and left all of their pipes and stuff hanging. Like, why?
industrial
it just
workspace.
doesn't. It's not an industrial workspace. It's supposed to be a habitat for people to live in and stuff.
But it's
so like,
also it's got like reactors.
there's no way
and-
your engineering room is going to have
Well-
hanging wires, and I just liked in this movie like everything is built again. The walls, there's walls.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, they've also gone through like their updates and upgrades.
Yeah,
And
they had to build it again. And
built another one. That's
Why
one.
do they
That's
not
one
rename
trope.
these like Enterprise 2, Enterprise 3?
they do. Oh, they. I
That's
don't know.
it's not on it.
CC 1701A is the newest one.
Yeah.
It was just 1701, and then they make a point of going
Oh, yeah.
like
It's
that
a
time lapse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
I
was
didn't
so
catch that.
awkward.
What, you didn't
The
like the
time
time
lapse,
lapse?
it was fine, but I was like, oh, the movie has come to a nice, satisfying close. And it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, they put the ship back together. You see it? And then it flies in. I'm like, I assumed all of that happened. Like, I would have been
But
fine.
I don't know.
It's
It,
visuals-
it,
it's
it, it could
visuals
be
for the
considered.
dialogue.
It could
I
be
would've
considered
considered-
gimmicky,
Yeah.
but I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've run out of steam here.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
I think we'll
let's go ahead and
pretty much
just do closing statements, and then we'll wrap up the episode. So, Jimmy, you want to start us off?
Sure. I would say definitely recommend. It was a great ride. Hit all really good points. While I would prefer more world building, not since the director's cut of Lord of the Rings are you going to get 4-hour epics. So, barring that, definitely go watch it. I didn't see it in IMAX 3D this time, and it was perfectly fine. So, I say recommend. Great thrill ride. Love the callback to the triangle, the triumvirate. It's about these guys on adventures.
Nice. Eric?
As a non-Trekkie, I would say it's worth watching if you like the average blockbuster. Personally, I don't feel it took the time to really make you invested or care beyond using the context of past films and the legacy of the franchise. And that, for me, is really not a positive aspect in any way. Well, obviously it's not, but it's, it's like it's hard to look past that for me. And from the way setups are and the lack of time taken to really make you feel things, if you're like me, I would not go see it.
So that's a not recommend?
I don't recommend it unless you're really just into all the spectacle you can get.
All right. I would absolutely recommend it. I had so much fun, and I had such low expectations. I've been a huge Star Trek fan forever, and this was the movie I was really hoping for after the reboot. Like, the first reboot gave me some hope. I didn't think it was perfect by any means. There was stuff that I still wanted to see from it. And I feel like this movie gave me so much, like, as a Trekkie. Like, it was made to salve wounds. And I had such a good time. Like, I was emotionally invested, and maybe I did bring a lot of that to the table as a fan. That being said, like, if you're a fan of Star Trek, you should absolutely go see this. If you liked Into Darkness, I would say even go see this. Like, there's nothing that this movie does in a way to try and exclude someone who's enjoyed anything Trek from the past, I feel. It is very quickly paced. It's the third film in a franchise and one of the longest running American franchises. So I think it's more okay that they put some of the stuff on the audience. They could have done a little more setup, but for me, I walked out and I was so happy. Like, I immediately pulled out my phone and, like, texting my parents, like, Star Trek was good again. Like, so yeah, for me, it's a very strong recommend, especially if you've enjoyed anything about the previous two reboot films. This is the one that pays off a lot of that goodwill. Yeah. I guess that's pretty much it for today. The show is produced by myself and Tafazwa Namarunwe. He's also our director of photography. Special thanks to Will Whitley and Zach Huckabee for helping us set up today and doing our running our sound. It's been a week. So we'll see you next week on Stubtown.